There will be no real non-controlled currency in the world.
We're coming for you, banks.
It's an exciting time to be involved in Bitcoin Cash at the moment.
During that whole war, Lightning versus big blocks, like were we the bad guys? Were we the ones that weren't listening?
Fundamentally, we believe in markets, transparency, and tokenization.
Come on, you gotta come stronger than that, you know, like...
Hello and welcome back to the Bitcoin Cash podcast. Following Bitcoin Cash on its rise to global reserve currency, this is episode number 83, BCH Guru Mint and the meme competition for 2023, featuring returning guest and meme specialist Luke Pryor. Today is Saturday, the 3rd of June, 2023. I'm your host, Jeremy Jett, and the BCH Guru fanatic, we'll talk about that, is doing the producing. And our guest is returning because we did the meme competition last year. I think it was a bit more than a year ago. Like, we haven't synced it up exactly, but it was super popular then. So we've cleaned up this sort of submission format and all that. And we're back for another round of giving out BCH to people with the top tier memers. For people who didn't watch that episode, Luke, introduce yourself. What do you do in the community? How do you get into Bcash and all that?
Hey guys. It's been a while. So I was an early Bitcoiner, and then like so many people, when the fork happened, I thought Bitcoin Cash was a scam. Sold all my Bitcoin Cash, took the money and ran. Yeah, well, it was, in hindsight, it was not because of I didn't know what was going to happen. You know what I mean? It's not. Yeah. I just got lucky with that one. You know what I mean? Yeah. But and then over the years, I was still following our Bitcoin on Reddit, and then I started to, kind of come back into the community and notice some of the upgrades that were happening, more of the technical stuff. And then, I started to slowly come back into the community.
Cool.
That's basically my story. And now I like supporting the community. Bitcoin Cash is probably my favorite crypto to support, just because it's proof of work. I think it's closer to what Satoshi kind of intended. And I think it's a very, very powerful tool for civilization at this time. I think Bitcoin Cash is a very important project.
So how are you feeling then overall, given obviously a year ago or a bit more than a year ago? I didn't go back and watch that last episode. I kind of feel like I should have, to get a sense. It's a bit of a time capsule, right, of where we were at, but I'm pretty sure we would have been pretty bullish on SmartBCH at that time. Things obviously fell apart there shortly after that. But we were at least feeling like things were going in the right direction. I guess we were kind of not really in the run up to cash tokens at that time either. But BCH Bull was sort of starting to come together, and that's still looking strong. So how do you feel the progress has been over the last year, just in general?
From a technical perspective, I think it's going in the right direction. Bitcoin Cash really always has been going in the right direction from a technical perspective, regardless of forks and things like that. You know what I mean? With all the various improvements like cash tokens and like some of the, the opcodes and things like that. With SmartBCH, I do feel bad for a lot of people that got wrecked on SmartBCH. In hindsight, we all should have done our due diligence more. It's hard to know exactly what happened with SmartBCH. It seems to me that it was some combination of Roger Ver having that margin that was supposed to be liquidated. And then that's basically was being used because how it was working is Flex USD. It was supposed to be backed, right, by all the contracts, basically, in the whole market of the exchange. And part of that market is Roger Ver's position, which is probably a very large portion, right, of that backing. And so there was some sort of disagreement. I don't know the details. We'll probably never know the exact details of how much Roger's at fault, but it was some combination of him breaching the contract probably and pulling out some of that liquidity, and then Mark having to basically pause operations and basically liquidate the exchange.
Yeah, we're definitely never gonna know the full truth of who kind of scammed who. And I mean, I was never like, this is easy to say in hindsight, right? But I was good on SmartBCH. I thought that was a good idea. Obviously, we heard so much about how the bridge was coming and all of that. And if it had come on time, it would have been a close run thing. Of course, it didn't, and it still hasn't, right? But I've been very interested that the things I've disliked in BCH. So the two biggest examples were Flex USD. I was kind of like, this doesn't really make sense. Like, there's already stable coins. There's already this and that. Like, I was never big chilling on this show, Flex USD. Like, I can't remember ever hyping that up. And so that seemed like a bit of a house of cards. And the other thing I never really liked was SLP tokens. I was kind of like, and again, they weren't really a problem. I guess they're related, right? But they were never really a problem. It seemed like so much effort and energy and community traction and stuff went into those things. And then now we're in this situation where we've got cash tokens, which I do really like and have been really good. And I have hyped up a bunch. But then you have so many people who are sort of borderline, who are kind of like, oh, I kind of liked SLP, or like, why do we spend all this time doing this and then we change? And then people from the outside are kind of like, oh, they've just got a new thing, which is not going to go anywhere, right? So you kind of, even though at the end of the day, it wasn't such a disaster, the whole SLP thing at the moment, it was just a bit of lost opportunity cost, you know?
Yeah, a lot of lost opportunity cost. I would say two things about SmartBCH, that whole sort of fiasco. So I think a lot of people overlook, Roger Ver definitely has some responsibility, right? And he's not just the victim. He entered in a contract with Mark. So that's important to note. But ultimately, what happened does lay with Mark, because he's the owner of the exchange and he was the one that entered. He let Ver have the position. So ultimately, it does lie with him. You know what I mean? So sometimes when I say that, what people think I'm scapegoating Roger Ver, but no, it does ultimately lay with Mark, because he's the CEO, he's the owner of the exchange, and he'd entered, into the contract or whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's between him and Roger is between him and Roger, but for the rest of the community, it's all to Mark. Right. Nobody else had to deal with Roger, which is where I think in hindsight, like he even at the time when we did that episode, well, there was a couple episodes, but we did the ones focusing on it. And I remember we did a chat vote at some time. We did a poll in the chat, and it was like 8-0 or something. People being like, "It's Mark's fault." Like, nobody was really voting against Roger. And then when we had the St. Kitts conference and everything, Roger came to that and all that. But if Mark had come, it would have been a fucking disaster. So he wisely did not show up, I think. Yeah,
but I'm so hopeful for SmartBCH. It's a great idea, right? Having a sort of more scalable EVM chain that's backed by BCH, so it doesn't have. So a lot of the EVM sidechains on Ethereum, for example, they all have different tokens, right? So like the most popular one is probably Matic, and Matic's basically just like multi-sig, right, with a different token, right? And if Matic just used Ethereum as gas and was basically a side chain, it'd be a lot more bullish for Ethereum, right? And there wouldn't be fragmented liquidity, I think preferably with side chains, you have the same native token, because it doesn't fragment the liquidity. It's better for like the user experience, and it's more value accrual to the original token, which is more decentralized. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it makes sense. But I saw you arguing in the Telegram with people where they were sort of saying, okay, look, part of the problem now is that SmartBCH is still running, but the tokens are not like guaranteed backs. Like the on-chain backing has basically been rugged and removed. And you were sort of saying, yeah, but the reason that you want to have that on-chain backing is so that you have a one-to-one price peg. Obviously, if there was a 100K SmartBCH and a 100K locked BCH on main chain and you could flip them back, you would always know you were going to get them out. But you were kind of making this argument that, well, if we have a bridge, which is running at the moment, the SmartBCH, like Bolivar, the bridge that the law team are running, or even if there's other ones created in future, if the price is still at 1-to-1 or, even 0.99 or whatever it is, then that's kind of good enough. I mean, the problem is that would all fall apart if the liquidity in the bridge got depleted, if everybody wanted to get out at once. So it is a bit scammy in that sense. But, there's kind of like a bit of a workable situation there, right?
Yeah, so there's kind of like two layers to it. If you're a more technical person and you're very wary of things and you look into SmartBCH and see that it's not fully backed, you might stay away from it, right? But like retail and the market doesn't really care. As long as the peg holds and there's enough liquidity for the average person to be getting in and out of the pair, that's all they really care about, because they're probably not going to do their due diligence and look at if it's backing. Now, could it implode at some point? And is it more likely that it could implode if there is no like decentralized backing that's like provable reserves? Of course. But at the end of the day, what matters most is the price. And someone's keeping the peg.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right. And that's why I don't know if they're making a profit on that. I sort of hope that they are, that the BlockNG team, if they have just a slight, they're taking, 0.1% or something on every trade. I don't know what the current exchange rate was back and forth, but I know that it has been like, it was started out way out of whack. It was like 67 cents to $1 of, but then it came into line because people started arbitraging it. And then I hope those BlockNG people, their team seems to still be doing quite well. So maybe they've just been accumulating some small fees from traffic on that, along with whatever else they're doing, right?
It could be. There's also a pegged market now on Jihan's exchange. What is it, like
Bit.com?
What's it called? Yeah, like bit.com. There's a liquidity pair there, BCH and SBH. And then there's, I think SBCH also has like a USD as a tether pair.
Wow.
And someone's keeping that.
Scams on scams.
I'm saying, someone's keeping it pegged on Jihan's exchange as well.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, so either good actors, bad actors, doesn't matter really if they're keeping the price. For the moment, it's fine until it's not, kind of thing, right?
Yeah. But it seems to me most of the projects on SmartBCH are still in a hold pattern. They're just kind of waiting to see what happens with the. There is definitely very murky. No one really knows what Shawgate or what's going to look like or what the bridge is going to look like. No one knows who's going to be fully backed. No one knows who the SmartBCH Foundation is. No one really knows. So it's very murky. I do lean towards that it will basically be restored.
Yeah. Just
because, like, if you read the tea leaves, like, the devs seem to be basically working with Jihan. Jihan has a lot of capital. And it seems unlikely to me that Jihan would be doing all this effort and working with and like paying for devs and stuff like that to be working with SBH if there wasn't like a plan to restore it. I mean, it's possible, but it seems unlikely to me. So I'm basically in a wait and see pattern. I personally didn't have any funds on CoinFlex, or I had like maybe a couple BCH on SmartBCH. I think it's still like in my MetaMask or something, but I'm just waiting to see the next few months. My plan is basically just to see what their plan is. Like, I want to see the bridge or whatever sort of system they do in the next coming months. I don't know. I'm going to then make a judgment call if I want to be involved in it or not. But I'm still pretty hopeful. It's a great idea. I hope they do move forward with it,
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And I think one of the things that we would have said, if my memory serves, on the last show is, you and I are sneaky believers in the comeback arc. I always have been, and I still kind of am, for kind of similar reasons. I think, clearly, like, if the chain stops, and the chain is still running today, but if the chain stops and everybody ditches off it, well, then it will be over and done, right? But despite all the problems, it hasn't really got to that stage. There's still been, like you said, there's a lot of the projects are still kind of quietly working away, or they moved on to another chain, but they're still keeping half a foot in SmartBCH. And it just seems like the kind of thing that when nobody is expecting it, right? When everybody has forgotten it or whatever, that's when suddenly it'll be like, announcement, guys, we fixed the problems, we're ready to go, and everybody will pop off again, right? Even if the 101k BCH that CoinFlex rugged is completely gone, I can still see it working. Even if it was just like, okay, write that off, fuck that, we're just resetting the chain back to zero, but we've got a new bridge or whatever, and so just crack on as you were. Like, I can see that, or I can see a scenario where Jihan kind of says, all right, guys, we've had another bull run, I've made another $500 million, so let me just cover the whole like, there we go, guys. Like, just it's all good, I've sorted you guys. Bitcoin needs to save the world, so like, that's how I'm doing it, right?
Yeah, and I really hope it does get. I really hope it does move forward. There's like a bridge solution and all of that, because cash tokens is great, but it's yet to be determined how it compares to EVM. I think in my mind, the most likely scenario is that there's some things that the EVM will probably always do better than cash tokens, and vice versa. Yeah. And ideally, we want developers to be able to take advantage of both, I think.
Exactly. I mean, EVM is going to be better, at least in the short and medium term, just because there's so much network effect. There's so much tool. Cash tokens is literally only on BCH. Like you can, if you can come over from BTC or BSV or XCC, you're a bit more familiar, or even Litecoin, you might be a bit more familiar with the UTXO model. Like that stuff is still there, but that's just concepts. You can't just literally plug stuff in exactly like you can on SmartBCH, right?
Right. So I think ideally we do want both. Like, I don't know if you'll ever truly be able to create like a Uniswap sort of experience on cash tokens. Maybe.
Really? Why not? What do you mean? We already had Jason Dreisner talking about JetX and how that's going to be sick. Why wouldn't that be possible? In fact, it would be better because there would be no MEV or less MEV. You've got instant transactions. You've got low fees. Why wouldn't it just be a lot better?
I don't know. I'm not super technical. I mean, it could be that you could build a sort of AMM where you can provide liquidity and earn the fees, and it's like a super smooth, slick experience, and it's better. But that's yet to be. No one's built that yet.
Yeah. It's going to take a while, especially for things to sort of roll out in the ecosystem. Right.
But we do know cash tokens will be better. Will almost certainly be better for certain things, right? Like a simple token, for example. Like if you have a token backed by gold, right? And it's going to be cheaper, it's going to be faster, it's going to be more scalable. That much we do know, right?
Speaking of
simple NFTs too, right? Any sort of simple sort of token / NFT, that sort of project, it's going to be, cheaper, faster, more scalable than EVM.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about a gold-backed token, because this week, PeterSchiff has been not only capitulating on Twitter and saying, guys, Bitcoin is still pointless, but if I have a gold-backed ordinals thing, then it's all good. He's like coping in the weirdest way of suddenly, I mean, he obviously eventually crypto had to destroy all this cognitive dissonance, but he's getting there in the weirdest, most roundabout way. So he has not only this most weirdest cope that Bitcoin is still worth nothing, but he's launching his own project on Bitcoin. What a ridiculous position. He's also showed up at the London, in quotation marks, London blockchain conference, which is really actually BSV Central, but they're just trying to bury the lead there. And he was at that, shilling his stuff. So, of course, he found his way into crypto and immediately got into the most toxic, unaware one. And he's going to have to just suffer all the blowback from that. Good luck to him with his choices.
I've seen a lot of boomers get tricked by BSV. It's just, crypto's hard, right? It's very technical. It's if you join the BSV community, they're gonna shower you with all of the amazing things that you don't know how to discern. You don't know what signing a private key means. Like, you don't know like the ins and outs of like true scalability, or being able to basically spam the chain and basically fake transactions, stuff like that. Like, if you don't know all that and you're just like new to crypto and then you enter the BSV community, it's like, it's hard to blame people.
That's right. But I think they say a lot of the things as well, too, that somebody like PeterSchiff would obviously fall for. Like, they're very, compared to the rest of crypto, which Peter sees as his son with the laser eyes who's telling him like gold is a relic, the BSV people are more like, no, suit and tie, and we got to follow the regulations and like play by the rules. But what do they always say? They always say like enterprise adoption and like all this stuff, which is completely not how crypto works. It's literally the only crypto corporate shills like Inc. Central. The rest of crypto is not like that, and they just sort of don't really understand. They're trying to mix oil and water, but that's the kind of thing he would get into, right? Yeah, I'm not sure if PeterSchiff. I think PeterSchiff is plain stupid, and he actually does like Bitcoin. You know what I mean? It's like, well, if you're building on Bitcoin and you're using ordinals, right, and you understand like to use ordinals, you have to pay Bitcoin miners like in the Bitcoin token. Right. And then there's millions of people doing that, and they all have their ordinals, and they're all using Bitcoin, the native network token, to pay their fees. Don't you think that token might have value? Yeah, but why can't he just admit that? Why is he still putting up this front of like weird rationalization? He's on that hype of he's about 3 years out of date with blockchain is valuable, but not Bitcoin. That's his current stance. So I don't know. Yeah, he'll get there in the end. He's on his own journey to Bitcoin Cash's global reserve currency. He's going to have to get there in his own fucking labyrinth navigation.
Maybe he can make a gold back. Maybe he can make a gold bag token eventually with cash.
I think that's what he's going to do, but that's the stupidest thing. I have zero support or interest in gold back tokens. That's just the most missed the point thing there is, right? Because the whole point of crypto is that there is no backing, because as soon as you back it with gold, you have to have a custodian. It's literally like Tether with the US dollar. You're going to have a custodian. And as soon as you've got a custodian, well, now you've defeated the entire point. The whole point of the cryptos is that the value is set by the free market, by, you know, scarce supply and free market demand. And then because there is nothing to cash it in for, you don't need a custodian. That's the entire fucking point. And he just doesn't understand that. And neither do the people doing stable coins. And like, that's why those things eventually blow up and scam. But he's got to the point of saying, oh, but if we have a token that's backed by gold, which lets me transfer around my gold vault tokens faster, well, wouldn't that be brilliant? It's like, this is a guy who spent his whole fucking career talking about the history of money and how gold's whatever they're called, blacksmiths rugged everyone by giving them the tokens, which they couldn't actually cash in, right? Fort Knox is empty. He knows all that. And he's like, let's just reinvent this with crypto in there. Who would believe that? That's just so stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I would push back a little bit on that, right? There is some value in real world assets, I think, on the blockchain. It's just they're going to always inherently have a different risk profile. So
they're going to have custodians, right?
Yeah, like let's say that you put like a rental property on the blockchain. Yeah, that's a cool idea, right? Because then, like, you could buy let's say you buy a $15 worth of a rental property. And then the rental properties are in you like 10% a year, and you just make 10% on your $15. You know what I mean? So there's way to add liquidity to fragmentize investments in the real world. But that's always going to be, that's more like investing in a company that's basically on the blockchain. It's always going to be inherently have a different risk profile.
No, I agree with the idea of physical. I don't mind having physical assets tied to tokens and whatever, because there will definitely be systems that emerge that facilitate that, especially, you know, just like any derivatives or anything, you know, and you'll have some government regulation and you'll have all that stuff will come in. So I understand that. The specific problem I have is with PeterSchiff trying to make gold a currency via transferable Bitcoin tokens, and not just like clicking in his head that gold is not going to be the currency. Bitcoin already is that currency. His dream of a gold economy facilitated by the blockchain is just literal fantasy. Yeah. I mean, there will be a lot of companies that will be try to make like gold tokens on blockchain where you can like do payments and stuff. But mostly it'll just be, I think, like if you want exposure to gold on the blockchain. And you can already do that on BCH Bull, by the way.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there'll be certain decentralized, like more decentralized mechanisms to get exposure to assets like precious metals and stuff like that.
Yeah, we got the chat saying David Hudman is just repping PeterSchiff. Yeah, I agree. PeterSchiff is actually a great guy. How an Economy Grows and Why It Crashes. Great book. I recommend that. Just take his advice on economics right up until the point where it gets to like 2009 and then just stop, because Bitcoin got invented and suddenly all his bullshit was out the window. And Fix the Track is talking about Mike Maloney, who is actually a Bitcoin casher, for the record. He has even been said on a couple of threads, he's been like, yeah, I've got some BCH. I think he knew, I can't remember, maybe it wasn't Roger, maybe it was somebody else that he like linked up with and sort of explained it and got him all the details, and he was like, yeah, this makes sense. So I'm sure he has a stash that he sits in cold storage, and he'll be sorted at Global Reserve Currency. So no worries, Mike.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I like his content a lot. And, you know, PeterSchiff runs a gold company. Like his whole life and enterprise is built around, you know, gold. So of course he's going to have a bias.
Of course, yeah, he's got to shill it. Okay, speaking of that, we got to get onto the market. So we're in the accumulation building phase at the moment. All the markets are just flat, and then they'll be booming in, you know, by the time we do this episode next year, probably USD $114.98, which is flat. One BTC buys 236.5 BCH, which is flat on that ratio, and one ETH buys 16.5 BCH, also flat. How are you feeling on the markets? We've seen a bull run started next year. What's the go?
I think this summer will be like the last good entry for most of these altcoins like BCH.
This summer, you mean like right now? What are you talking? The next 2 months, 3 months?
Yeah. Over the course of the summer, I think things will pick up in like Q3, Q4.
Okay, already in 2023, even not even into 2024. Halving in April, well before that.
Yeah. Okay. The halving's great. I don't think the halving's the main driver of price anymore. I think it's just all the markets are basically very correlated nowadays, in my opinion. It's all just, is the Fed, it's just the Fed. Is the Fed sucking liquidity, or are they, putting liquidity into the system?
Yeah.
That's basically all that matters in today's world, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah. How close are we to hyperinflation of the USD? Yeah, fair enough. Makes sense. All right, cool. So I got to give a bit of an update on Selene. So obviously last episode we launched the wallet and stuff. It's nearly funded. I didn't update the amount, but I think it's 123 out of 150 BCH funded so far. So please, if anybody is interested in that, check out flipstarter.selene.cash and you can hopefully just get us over the line, because it would be amazing to get that funded. Thank you to everybody who has been contributing. We've got v1.0.7 released, which has some toast notifications when you're copying your addresses and when you're receiving coins. It now pings up, and also the Venezuelan users got a bit of an update, apparently similar to Argentina. They need the custom rate, the official rate. It's not actually the rate. The iOS build is coming. Callisti's been working on that. I'm going to be talking to him tonight about that. So hopefully we'll have that for you soon. Telegram's popping off, now over 60 members actually, and we've had a ton of user feedback. So many people have been writing in, and it's all tracked. You can go on the Git, again, look up the website and follow the links, and we have all the issues and stuff that people have suggested. So there's a ton of hard work that we're going to have to do there, but I've been thrilled with the very enthusiastic community response, and I'm sure we have well over 100 Selene users already. So that's been absolutely amazing, and you can all look forward to future upgrades coming out there. I don't know, have you tried using it, Luke? I
have not. Okay. No.
Well, you can check it out, but it's going to be the next big thing in BCH. You can front run the news. There's loads of stuff we actually need to build yet for it, but once we have a bunch of better stuff, it's going to be amazing. But it's all just going to take time and effort to do in the background. All right, so we had the BCH Gurus mint, which was 2 days ago, something like that. It was on Thursday, right? So I got to start with a disclaimer, which is that I minted a bunch of these, and I thought I'd minted a lot, and then Jett apparently minted even more. So obviously we are sort of shilling our own investments here. Full disclaimer, but the first 2,000 Gurus Wave 1 minted in 22 hours, so under 1 day. Foad, one of our regular listeners, he got Guru number 1 for 0.1 BCH and then sold it for 21 BCH. So he made an absolutely massive gain on that. Others have been selling for 0.15 to 5.3 BCH. There's been loads of traffic on TapSwap. And it's been driving, obviously, the wallets and TapSwap, Paytaca, Cash and Eyes to improve and iron out the bugs and the edge cases, right? So just a big congratulations to the BCH Gurus team. A hugely successful first launch, I would say. But Jett, give us your take on why you got so into it. You've clearly been loving this project, right?
Yeah. So before the minting happened, I was like, I'm going to lose so much money on this shit. And in my mind, it was about the price prediction game, which isn't here yet. So I suck at trading. So I was like, I'll play the game and lose money, and then I'll end up being a furu, but I'll be like the number 1 furu, and that'll be something. Well, I now have like over 100 of these gurus, and we haven't hit the game yet.
Boom.
So I woke up, the very first thing I did was I minted 15, and I was like, this will just be my 15 and that'll be that. And then I saw that there was the collections page, and I was like, okay, I'll check out what this is all about. And then I saw the stats, and I was like, shit, I need all the orbs, all the assets. How do we get this going? And by the time I did get there, I was like, okay, this is too much. Like, I've spent more BCH than I ever wanted to on an NFT. That's why, I mean, Jeremy and I were talking about this before the stream, and I was like, these stupid NFTs, they're not stupid, they're great. But I'm the idiot here. I spent so much BCH on this shit. But it got to the point where I was like, I can't, like, I have 7 out of 20 of the lyrics, and I was like, I can't. I'll trade Guru for Guru, but I'm not spending any more BCH on this, unless I can sell off like 50. If you're interested, I'll sell for twice the floor price.
There you go. Luke, what do you think? Did you mint any of these, or have you got a Guru?
No, I don't. I missed the Guru thing. I don't even know what it's about. I don't even know anything about the team or anything.
Well, that's right. It's these anonymous devs, right? So obviously always a bit sus in crypto, but also, yeah, sometimes it can work, right? And so they've been said very regularly, like, guys, don't trust us, verify, we'll make, portions of the code and the tracking game and stuff will all be on chain and open source.
They're making a game?
Yeah, so the idea is going to be, there's still some revealing to be done about this, but the idea is, so there's these 10,000 NFT mint, right, as per usual, but in 5 blocks of 2,000. And the idea is going to be that if you have a Guru, any Guru, so the rarity doesn't matter except for secondary market value, right? But that if I have a Guru NFT and Jett has a Guru NFT, you can basically challenge the market at large by, I can bet from my Guru NFT, I can put a certain amount of money and predict the price of anything on oracles.cash, right? So I can predict like the price of gold in 6 months and say it's going to be whatever, $2,500 US. And then I submit that. And then my Guru NFT or somehow like publishes a message saying, does anyone want to bet against me on the price of gold? Then Jett says, yeah, great. But my prediction of 2,500 is hidden until he comes in, and he has to then match my stake. So I've staked 1 BCH on the price, 2,500. He comes in, he puts the same 1 BCH in and picks his own number. Let's say maybe he picks 2,300, right? That he thinks. Then my price is revealed. His price is obviously revealed. And then the game is on. And then when the timer ticks down to that actual date, we see, okay, the price was 2,350 and it checks, okay, Jett's was closer and he wins the 2 BCH. And then obviously, because this is all on chain and verifiable, the community can now have a leaderboard of who is the real best price guru, because they will be able to back up with their on-chain history that they've been wrecking everybody and taking their money, right? So that's the idea.
Good. That sounds cool.
if Dinopon starts playing, I'm just gonna follow his stuff.
Yes,
Yeah,
I bet he will. Because he's amazing. He's actually amazing. He's been crushing it on BCH Bull already. If he can start repping himself up as well as just taking people's money directly, he's going to be an absolute terror. So we're going to have to watch out for that. I agree. I will also be trying to copy trade him because he's amazing.
When are they going to open up another mint?
We don't know yet. So the 2,000 have minted out and they've just kept, secret. Like they haven't announced yet when the following waves are going to be, which I think is very smart because now they can just wait until there's a big pump, big hype cycle. Oh guys, we're doing another mint. And then they just time it perfectly with that. But in the meantime, it makes the Guru value quite hard to assess because on one hand, the floor is already going up, right? Because if you want one, then that now you have to get one from someone who already has one, and there's only a small amount on the market, right? But on the other hand, they could just announce another mint and suddenly the supply will double. Although with how successful the first round has been, maybe the second round, people will be getting hyped and snatching that up as well too. So
yeah, I'll get some on the next round.
Okay, all right. I have to keep an eye out for that.
I'll wait for the next mint. I do have some BitCats, but that's the only Bitcoin Cash NFTs. Well, I think I have some SmartBCH NFTs that I bought from. I don't even remember the project, but I minted like a dozen BitCats.
That's good. Well, they've been slowly ticking up as well too. I think it's now something like 700, maybe nearly 800 BitCats have been minted. So they're doing a different strategy where they just put them all 10,000 all out there straight away, and then they're slowly minting up. But obviously the Paytaca team is not specialized in that as well. Obviously that's one of the things they got going on. And in fact, their wallet and all the tooling and stuff they've built was very, used in the BCH Gurus who are just focusing on just doing the NFT. So it's great to see the ecosystem kind of collaborating and everybody's benefiting, right? Because I'm sure those Paytaca guys, they'll have some of the gurus themselves. I'm sure they would have minted a few. Plus, their own software is getting more prominent and getting bug tested and everything for free by the hype over the gurus. So it's really starting to click together as an ecosystem, I think.
Yeah, I don't know if my BitCats will ever be worth anything, but I like supporting the Paytaca team.
Yeah.
How do you even say? I don't know how to say it. Is it Paytaca?
Paytaca. No, I think it's Paytaca. That's how they say it. Paytaca. Yeah.
I don't even know.
You can watch the episode we did with Jomar, episode 81, I think.
I watched part of it. Yeah. They're one of my favorite teams at BCH, so I like supporting them.
Yeah, they've been around a long time. They're doing great work. Yeah. Proof of work. They've got a high proof of work, and hopefully the BCH Gurus will continue putting up that proof of work as well too. Like there's still, and in this mint, like my first transaction, I don't know, it got a little bit delayed. They were using prompt.cash as well for the payments. Again, just really, really cool to see that all the different pieces of the ecosystem, as everybody builds each layer, then the people at the next layer are like, oh, wow, we're going to use those services. They're already there. And it's really creating a full digital economy. It's absolutely amazing to see. But there was still like a couple of people had slight problems with their mints, and the wallets don't all necessarily display them. Like the Cash and Eyes now does, but it needs... you need to be able to click on them and see them in larger, I think. And like Paytaca, they don't maybe display Electron Cash. I don't know where they're at with displaying NFTs, but these things will all get built up because CashTokens is so new. It's still only two weeks old, 3 weeks old. And yeah, it's starting to come together fast though. So I've been super impressed with how the ecosystem has been collaborating in that respect. Yeah. It's a fun time. It's exciting. All right. I've got some slides here. We already had a bit of a chat about it, so we don't need to go all over it again, but I have some slides here because I reviewed all the chat about SmartBCH, all the Telegram channel, to figure out what's going on. Like we talked about, Tango, Lawpunks, Eben, Reapers, there's various communities that are sort of in a holding pattern in the background. Mark Lamb is still in the mix. He's basically running his OpenX scam with Suju on Twitter, but his engagement is like in the toilet, and so is Suju's, and they're just trying to, and they had some scenario where they said like, we got invested in by all these companies, and then those companies started coming out saying we did not invest in this. Like they're just lying. So they got roasted for that. And meanwhile, May 27th was the last day, so that wasn't that long. That was under a week ago. Mark was in the Telegram saying, guys, we're going to fix it with the bridge. Don't worry. Like for the, 10 millionth time in a row that he said he's going to fix it and never delivered because he scammed all the money. Like, I don't know what's going on, but things seem to have got together at least a little bit in terms of there was this poster G.Summer, aka Huang Yao, who said she was the new BCH Foundation operator. I've got some Telegram messages here. I'm not going to read them out because they're really long, but people who care can look up the slides and read them. But she said that Jihan has funded it, Hui is doing the dev, and that she's going to be the foundation sort of operator. And to her credit, she has actually been delivering pretty good weekly updates. So it seems like at least some transparency is starting to come together. Meanwhile, Hui has been developing, like he says, the bridge is still in the works and that it's going to be back before the end of this year. But that's what we got told last year. So who knows? They've been doing all this dev work on something called Elfin Guard. Like, I don't know what any of that's about. Just make the bridge, guys. Why are you distracted with other stuff, I think Elfin Guard is a way to it connects to store data on, you can store data on what is it? Like IPFS or something. Yeah. And then you can pay to store the data on IPFS with BCH. I think that's what it is. Well, that sounds pretty cool. But it also sounds like why don't we just get the bridge working? Like the ecosystem is already in shambles. Like why are we trying to get to the next complicated thing if what we have already isn't working? You know.
And also the bridge will be operated by a DAO. I'm like, I don't know. Like why do we need a DAO to operate the decentralized? How decentralized is this bridge going to be? I don't know.
What's the point of a service to pay for hosting things on IPFS? If anyone can host things on IPFS for free.
I don't know.
What do you mean? If you're like, I need my thing hosted up, like I need my BCH Guru JPEGs immortalized forever, but I don't have a spare computer sitting around, so I'm going to pay somebody else to host it on their server, right?
I mean, I see Kalisti's comment in the chat here. You got to pay for your storage. But like, I've pinned my Guru IPFS stuff to my own local node, and like the storage was already purchased. So in my mind, it's a free thing. Like,
what do you mean your local node? Are you running a
I have an IPFS
IPFS in your room there, or like what under the desk? Like
no, just on my laptop. Like
so it's not on AWS or anything,
right? Yeah, it's only on when my laptop's on. But guess what? That's the only time I need it. It's not a public service.
No, but it could be. That's what other people are then offering that, right? They're running a node that you can then pay some BCH and they'll put your thing on there for however long, right?
Gotcha.
That makes sense.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Sounds interesting.
What was that?
Yeah, it seems interesting. Some of the stuff they're building.
Seems kind of legit, but it seems like there's a lot of action going on in the background, which might either be amazing and will just drop in 6 months and we'll be like, fuck yeah, this is the best. Or maybe it'll just come to anything, and then what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's also really interesting how they're kind of, apparently they've been messing with cash tokens too. Like apparently like you can use the cash tokens through the MetaMask like plugin now.
Yeah, we talked about that on the previous episode with CRC20. It was kind of amazing that the Chinese devs just had their own way of thinking, and they were just said, everybody's already got MetaMask, so why don't we just hack in a way that you can do cash tokens, and then boom, you're popping off, right?
I mean, that's pretty cool if it works, and then you can just use MetaMask, and then you can just use the best of both worlds, right? You can interact with cash tokens and SmartBCH, and it's all in one wallet. Why not?
Yeah, that does sound like that could be absolutely amazing. I'm sure there's got to be a lot of coding and sorting out that in the background, but somehow it seems there's a whole bunch of like these devs that are just sitting around with nothing to do, or Jihan made them all rich or whatever. Like So,
but I mean that's good news. There's the Chinese devs are starting to tinker with cash tokens and see what they can do and can't do, and see how like to build part of the tooling and stuff. You know what I mean?
That's right. Exactly. It's a bit of a team effort, and anything that they get done, well, that saves anybody else kind of having to do it. And clearly they're communicating with a different user base who might have different ideas and different things as well too. So yeah, I'm really glad to see it. What it does make me realize though is that that's sort of obviously the power of an open permissionless network. Is I kind of wonder if there might not be a scenario in a couple of years' time or something where we just start getting like in Africa, if suddenly a couple of Nigeria has tons of tech companies and we're on obviously a fairly strong BCH scene. Wouldn't surprise me if they were just quietly cooking up something and then it just came out of nowhere. A couple of people in Nigeria got fired up and they were like, oh, let's have a look at this. And then suddenly we had the Nigerian BCH Renaissance or something. I can sort of see that happening as well too.
But I think you're right. The most important thing is the bridge. We want to see the bridge, and that's the biggest thing. Is like waiting. We're just waiting for the bridge. We're going to seeing what it looks like. Like how decentralized is it?
Yeah, if we don't have the bridge, then the rest of it's kind of a bit of much of a muchness. So.
I have a feeling we should know within a couple months.
Oh, I guess so. That's what he's saying. But I mean, they said decentralized bridge soon in like 2021 when they launched it, and then it didn't come by the end of that year, and then it was no soon by the end of the year, and then CoinFlex melted down, which I understand. Okay, maybe that redirected resources, things got delayed, yada yada. But then now here we are in the middle of 2023, And they're saying end of 23, like definitely for sure, bro. Trust me, bro. It's like that meme with the Doge crying. Trust me, bro. 2023, big meme, and then just like the cash tokens Doge, just like already launched.
But like I said, it seems unlikely to me. Like Jihan with all his resources would number one. I would highly doubt that he would just walk away from it and let it die. That seems unlikely to me. And it also seems unlikely that Jihan would rug everyone. Like he's already got billions. Like I don't think. I mean, maybe I've misjudged his character, but he seems like a good guy.
Yeah. Well, it seems like the vision is still there, right?
Right.
I mean, I can't speak for him. I've never met him or talked to him or anything. I don't know. But it sort of seems to be like, I mean, he was one of the OG, most ideological people in the space, and he was running the mining and he was translating the white paper and all that. He gets it at the deepest level. So I'm sure he's now just like, all right, my life's just completely sorted. What motivates people at those extreme levels of wealth? Well, it seems to be, only two things, basically. One thing is if they're just like, right, I'm just going to go sit on a beach, or maybe three. One, I'm going to go sit on a beach like Leo or whatever and meet some models, and then that's it. I've kind of made it in life, right? You got that camp, then you got the other camp like Mark Cuban or what's his name, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, who are just like, we got to make more money. Why do they want to make more money? It's just a high score, they're just challenging themselves, how good they can be at business. And then you have the third camp who are kind of like, I'm already rich, so kind of what can I do to make the world a better place in my own way, whether that's political donations or, crypto or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think there might be a bigger Chinese Bitcoin Cash community than we realize sometimes, and I'm happy to see that like they're tinkering with it and they're building stuff, because Bitcoin Cash is for everyone, and it's a powerful tool for freedom and for wealth and all that jazz. And I hope the Chinese community, can keep building on it.
Yeah, they certainly seem to be doing a good job. They're pretty quiet a lot of the time, and then they just come out with something great. So the communities are like very. You would think with the internet there'd be a little less like, but they're very isolated even still. Even with the internet, the two communities. You know what I mean? I mean, there's totally room for somebody to do a Bitcoin Cash Twitter thread or podcast or newsletter or something, just being like, I am bilingual and I'm translated, here's like the trending ideas or comments or discussions or whatever in the Chinese community into English and in English into Chinese. That would be brilliant if somebody made that the cross-chain, chatter, whatever.
Satoshi's Angels is kind of doing that, aren't they? Like
they do a little bit. They do make like translate some stuff, but they just kind of tend to do like news and updates. It's not like getting a sense of what the community feels. That's what they don't really speak to that. I feel they're not like, poster 6911 X has said that blah, blah, blah. Like they never really posting anything about that. So,
right. Yeah. That's cool. I think Bitcoin Cash can be a powerful tool for freedom in China too. Obviously they have an oppressive regime there.
It seems to be getting worse and worse, by the way. I follow this one guy on Twitter, Songping Chiang, and every time he posts, it's just looking, or it might even be a lady, I don't know. It's just getting worse and worse in terms of like walking around in public, having these little bots follow you and scan your face. And if you're on the credit card, the social credit list, then it like chases after you, setting off an alarm, and then all the security can come and herd you off to prison or whatever.
I fully support the underground Bitcoin Cash Chinese revolution.
Exactly. They're up against it, so I guess we can give them all the
Godspeed
we can get. Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe not Godspeed when it comes to China, but best wishes to them. Anyway, all right. So I also saw you posting recently about the 2024 updates, and given we've launched Cash Tokens, that's out, it's starting to pop off. That all seems to be going well. It's not like, I mean, there will be more building and stuff, but the community does not need to be putting out fires there. Right. And obviously with the chip process, the idea is to have a bit of a long lead time to discuss ideas, get them out there, marinate over them, let people consider them, then, move into some serious proposals. So for 2024, I saw you say the focus for the next upgrade should be a dynamic limit or some sort of block size raise and UTXO commitment. So just expand on that. Let me know what your thoughts are in this direction.
Well, I feel like cash tokens was kind of like the pinnacle of where we've been moving for a while now. You know, obviously, like Amaury added a lot of like, you know, he had like op return, like all the different op codes and stuff. So we've been moving towards like trying to just make it more functional for years now, right? Which is good because, you know, Bitcoin Cash still isn't used very much. We have to be honest about the current situation, right? Like we love big blocks and like we can handle bigger blocks and stuff like that, but the usage still is not there. So that's one of the reasons why I was so bullish on Bitcoin Cash, is because the community, I felt like, understood that we need to make it more usable because we need the users. And they kind of, you know, especially like looking at the success of Ethereum, for example, you know, we need to kind of become, we don't want to become Ethereum, but we want to become more like Ethereum, you know, to get those sort of network effects, right? And I feel like cash tokens is kind of like the pinnacle of that, right? Where we built it and built it and built it. And then Jason, God love him, came out with cash tokens, and like that's like a kind of like the pinnacle, like I was saying, of you know, like smart contract capabilities on Bitcoin Cash. And I think in the future there might be some like parameters we want to change with cash tokens. Like I know he had a chip with like the changing the VM limits and stuff like that. But I feel like now that we have that good base with cash tokens and we have all these capabilities, now maybe the next upgrade we want to focus a little bit more on scalability, because the cash tokens, we might need scalability more quicker than we realize. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I'm feeling kind of the same thing, because I feel like there's a bit of a, it's sort of like any crypto, maybe there's a third pillar, but there's, you know, on one hand, you either want to, your community is either like, we got to drive demand or we got to drive scale, right? And if you have lots of scale, then obviously you got to focus on demand, because it doesn't, that's where like the BSV people are so stupid, because they're like, we've got unlimited scale. And it's like, yeah, but nobody cares about your thing. If nobody cares, it doesn't matter, right? And then once you get a lot of people onto it, well, then suddenly scale comes back on the priority, which is what the ETH community now, like we got to have sharding, we got to have L2s, we got to all this stuff. BTC, of course, is focused on neither, because they just like, we're coasting on existing demand and we have no plans for scaling. Great. So they're just out of the race. But for everybody else, you either got to get demand or scale going. And I agree with you. We had scale well in hand. So now the focus moved back onto generating demand with all the functionality. And that the stuff seems pretty powerful. And the network effect and the marketing also seems to be getting going a little bit, right? Like these BCH gurus, this is perfect, right? There's a good marketing focused initiative, taking advantage of all that new technical capability. This show is growing, right? I think things are going in the right direction there. So you're right. Maybe if we do kick off, and at the moment, one of the reasons that prior to cash tokens, I didn't think it was that relevant, because you would always have people coming in threads and saying, oh, guys, why don't we raise the block size limit? Like, why doesn't it need to be big? And it's like, well, we already have 32 megabyte blocks and we're only doing 100 kilobytes per block, right? So we're talking about at least 2 to 3 orders of magnitude growth, enormous growth before we're even close to those limits. And 256 megabytes is already kind of been tested or floated around there. So we've already got 2 or 3 orders of magnitude, but maybe you're right that we need to now, as the demand starts to build, we need to be ready for 4 or 5 orders, because probably 2 will kick in kind of quickly, right? Right.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that should be the focus. And then, you know, we can always come back to like usability, right? Because, you know, we might see, but it's going to take a while probably to see what sort of parameters we need to shift, like a little bit maybe for cash tokens. But like, you know, a couple of years from now, we might see like cash tokens is great, but maybe we need, you know, the VM limits need a little bit of adjusting so it's even more usable, right? But we don't really know yet, because cash tokens hasn't been out long enough. So we don't really know. I don't think we'll know what sort of adjustments need to be made to the virtual machine for cash tokens maybe for another year or 2. So in the meantime, I think it is prudent to shift back to sort of scalability, which has been neglected for years on Bitcoin Cash because we haven't needed it.
Yeah.
Right.
Can I hop in for just a moment?
Yeah.
So I, first off, am in complete support of a adjustable dynamic block size, and have been since probably for like 2 years now. I remember Uname was like, yeah, we could raise the block size limit. Well, what about this? And he linked me to the Bitcoin Cash research website.
Yeah.
So we have like the 32 megabyte protocol limit right now.
Mm-hmm.
In this discussion of scaling is just communicating with the pools included in that, because we could have larger blocks. We just need to get these people to start mining them.
Well, it's like this week, there was already a couple of blocks in a row that came in at like 8 megabytes, 4 megabytes, because the emergent coding guys in Townsville were like spinning up their latest round of tests. So they filled it all up. And even though the miners could do 32 megabyte block, they have their own soft limits lower, and they're obviously not going to bother fiddling around with that until it's actually become necessary. So at the moment, it's only necessary in these tiny little windows, but maybe if we had consistently 8 megabyte blocks, of course, they would be like, shit, let's get on this and raise it. But then even if we were getting up to like the 32 megabyte blocks, yeah, it's just this kind of coordination issue, right? So I've been seeing some chatter, and there's a little bit of, I don't know that there would be all that much contention, but it seems like there's at least multiple viewpoints to be taken into account. And I know that Tom Zander from Flowy, he's always kind of saying like, no, we don't have a limit. And he kind of has this very specific technical objection that like, it needs to be the free market deciding the block size limit. Like, why would we set an algorithm and then that's taking it away from the free market of the miners and the node operators? So, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think? Automatic block size adjusting limit, is that a good idea, Luke?
I mean, I'm not a dev, so I'm more technical than the average person, right? But I'm not like a super. So I do leave some of that more like abstract sort of like technical stuff to like the devs and in the Bitcoin Cash community, right? In my mind, I do steer more towards actually probably the BSV idea that we don't really even need a block size, and that there's no reason the market will limit itself. And
you do need some kind of limit though, right? And because the reason there is a limit, the reason Satoshi put it in, and the same reason that the BCH community kept it on and had the whole problem with BSV over like, let's just take off the limit, is because there's certain like attacks that you could do on the network if you have literally no limit, because I can find your node and I can start feeding you a block, and it can literally just be endless. I can never stop. If you've got a limit, then you can start feeding me a block. And by the time it gets to 32 megabytes, I'm like, is this a valid block? No. Like, you're obviously scamming me, bro. And I can cut you off and then blacklist your node. And then, but if there is no limit, it's like telling you one of those jokes, you know, where you tell someone a story and it goes on, and then the guy does this and the guy does it. And the joke is just how long until you kind of wake up and realize that there's no point and it's just going to go on forever. They're just wasting your time. It's like you can do that to a node.
Didn't BSV lower the relay fee? From my understanding, that attack in Bitcoin Cash would be much more expensive because
it's free, because I'm not feeding you a real block. I'm just coming to you and sending you a fake block, which doesn't even add up. In the end, I don't need to have done any proof of work, because the hash isn't going to check out, because you've only seen half the block in your point of view, but it just goes on and on and on and on and on, and it never gets to an end point of time, right? I'm aware of that kind of angle to it. So there does, the limit needs to be higher than anybody reasonably cares about, but there does need to be some limit, I believe.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for explaining that to me. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think the limit can be quite high.
Exactly, I mean? So Fix the Tracking says, Tom likens it to socialistic production quota algorithms. What's the counterpoint to that? Well, I think the counterpoint really is just the idea that, as we're saying, in practice, the limit is going to be much higher than actual usage. And that seems to be what the algorithms, the proposed, would do. They would sort of look at what is the current usage, and then let's say if usage goes 10%, then it raises the limit, 10 or 15%, and just kind of keeps it floating at this band above the limit. And the idea was, I think, that you were preserving the ability of the miners to kind of control things, because if they were making bigger blocks, then that's almost like they're implicitly voting for the limit to go up. And if they just set themselves a cap and they only mine at that level, then that means keep it the same. And if they started producing smaller blocks, then over time the algorithm would sort of respond to that and come down. So I I quite like it a lot just because the plan of having an automatic block size limit seems to me to make a huge amount of sense, because it's a coordination problem which you can easily solve one time. Like, imagine if we had a manual difficulty adjustment every 2 weeks and everybody was like, okay, guys, let's crack out the calculators and figure out, to me, it's like, it's nonsense that you would ever do that manually, and it's just set. Everybody knows what the algorithm is. Everybody calculates it automatically, and nobody ever worries about it again. So I don't really see why the block size should be different necessarily. But
yeah, I agree. It is best to like abstract away as much of it as possible, where they don't have to change the parameters themselves.
Yeah, I mean,
so we'll see if it gets into the next upgrade.
Yeah, well, it'll only happen, I guess, if the community is discussing and thinking about these issues. If it becomes more contentious and or at least more prominent, then I'll definitely do some episodes where we'll get some people on who know the specifics. Because I'm mostly just, I know that Tom specifically has some objections to this. I don't know if it's shared really by anybody else. Emergent Reason says the main benefit of algorithmic is that it reduces pressure on the social layer by removing the need for regular discussion on topics that can easily become contentious. And I think that's a fair point, right? Because that was part of the problem of the big blocks after the split, was everybody agreed it needed to be higher than 1 megabyte, but then how high, right? And that's like, you could go around all day over 32 megabytes or 100 megabytes or 33 megabytes. And it's just like an endless loop of discussion, right?
Yeah, it is like we talked about, it is best to abstract away as much of that as possible and not leave it up to people, leave it up to the machine, I
mean, you do also have the sort of people who I stopped seeing that recently, but there was certainly a period where there would be people who would come in and maybe they were a bit more BSV thinking or something, who would come in and say, guys, when are we going to raise the limit? Like, there's this idea, which is patently wrong, but some people at least have it, that enterprises can't jump on because if they suddenly put on 100 million transactions a day, the blockchain wouldn't be able to handle it. So they wouldn't, that's not good enterprise planning, and like no business would do that. The reality is no business is going to roll out crypto to 100 million users like overnight. Obviously they're going to test it, even if it's fucking PayPal or whoever, like they're going to test it with a small amount of users. And if we were getting that kind of traction, then obviously negotiations would start to work around that. But there's no need to do it ahead of time. But at the very least, even though the Bitcoin Cash community overall is like, yes, obviously we'll raise the limit when the limit is hit, some people seem to still have these weird lingering doubts that would suddenly disappear and everyone would be like back to the block size wars about it somehow, right?
Right. I don't think that's going to happen again.
Decentrally Focused says, what were you referring to with UTXO commitments? So that's this idea that the only, like in a certain sense, the most relevant part of the blockchain is the UTXOs, right? The current state of what coins are kind of live, right? If coins have been traded around, and this is all explained in the white paper, of course, then once they're buried under enough blocks, they're sort of irrelevant, right? If like whatever coins that I had 3 years ago that I've spent and then somebody else has spent and then somebody else has spent, well, that data might still be interesting for analyzing the blockchain, finding out patterns over time, June analytics, whatever. But in terms of the actual relevant state of the network, you can kind of just throw out that history. Like, oh, is anybody going to do a rollback of 6 months or 12 months of blockchain history? No, even if there was a bigger proof of work fork, the entire community would just be like, that's what? No, that's not a thing. So in that sense, the blockchain as it is now, which is on BCH, about 200 gigabytes, maybe a little less, of that, only the UTXOs are the relevant part, which is at the moment, I think, like maybe 3 or 4 gigabytes. Maybe that's on BTC. But anyway, far smaller, right? Two orders of magnitude smaller, 215 gigabytes total. And do we know what the UTXO set is? Anyway, it's like 2 or 3 gigabytes massively, right? So about 100 times less. And it's more scalable than the regular blockchain because to create new UTXOs, you have to destroy old ones. So over time, as Bitcoin spreads out to more and more users, it does grow over time as it gets more and more distributed, but much slower. And so if you hash all of the UTXO commitments and then you put that into every block as a rule of just proposing a new block, then anybody can start and sync a new chain from the tip rather than from the base, right? They don't have to start at block 0 and go all the way up to blocks 800,000, 780, whatever we're at now. And instead, you can just start at the current one and just already be going, because the miners have already backed up with their proof of work that this is the correct UTXO set after all that history. So would be a huge boon to scalability, because then it would make it much, much easier for people to run nodes, which can then backfill the rest of the blocks if they want, or they can just be pruned nodes and not even bother about it, and people can just archive that data who care about it, right? So
Right. Yeah. So both of those things, I think, will be big for scalability. And they're not like fringe things. They're things that have been in the works for years now, and they're closer to sort of refinement. Yeah. They're closer to being a pipeline. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's pretty critical, because that UTXO commitments and then in combination with SPV, right? Like how Electron Cash works, or how now Selene works, right? Where it can just check the block headers or just check the specific UTXOs that it cares about. Then that's the technical design that can get to global reserve currency. When we're talking about 10 billion users sending 5 transactions a day, those are kind of the core pieces that you need. So it's quite important that we get that right before huge, influxes of users come in and things get more harder to change, I guess, right? Right.
Yeah, completely agree. We want to be ready for the onrush for the masses.
Yes. Okay, so that seems to be all the questions we had in the chat about that. Right, so we're doing our meme competition, which we did last year. I think Jett is maybe going to bring up the thread, and the prizes is first 1 whole Bitcoin Cash, one of the 21 million. Second is half that at 0.5 BCH. Third is also half that at 0.25 BCH. And then we also said maybe we'll send some BitCats to some of the other ones that we liked. I have some of my favorites on the slide, but Luke also can chip in with his opinion. So let's just scroll through some of these. Jett, maybe you can give us a bit of a explanation for the audio listeners of each some of the memes as we find them.
I was thinking back to last year's win. I remember the whole panorama.
The diorama. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
For anybody who hasn't seen that, go back and look. Nobody did that kind of effort this time around. That one could have won this year, I think.
I think, to be fair, I think we gave that one quite a bit more time, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, there was a longer lead time for that. But somebody made a whole diorama, like a school project type of thing with like paper cutouts and like paper mache. And they had all kinds of stuff in there. It was like a moon astronaut and CZ and Vitalik. And they had the Bitcoin Cash podcast it was like with lights as well. You could turn the lights off in their room, and it was like flashing lights and stuff. It was absolutely amazing. So
he made like a little video of him making it with his friend.
That's right. There was the behind the scenes content. It was a very, very worthy winner last year. We didn't see anything like that this year, because it was a shorter time frame, and also this time around we only allowed 1 submission. Last time there was 3, so a lot of people were putting in a lot of different memes, but it was just too overwhelming to review them all. So this time we've cut it down. Jett, are we ready to go?
Next year we'll give people more time. Next year.
Yeah, if we're more organized, or if we're not, we won't.
No, we won't.
Shrink my window.
Okay, Luke's promised. Luke will be in charge of organizing next year's.
Luke's promised, exactly.
Okay, so first things first, we have the one that we see on the screen. I heard he owns a First Wave Emerald DAO, BitCat Hero, and BCH Guru.
I like this one. It came from Big Chad, right? Bitcoin Cash TV. And it's that meme of the two girls, the one whispering. Is this Emma Watson? Every time I see this, I think it looks like Emma Watson.
I think it's.
Is it?
I think it reminds me of Lindsay Lohan, like early Lindsay Lohan.
Is that the screen share?
Is that the other one though? No, you're just gonna have to look it up yourself, Luke. We can't share it live on the call as well. I swear I don't know if it is or not, but it looks like a early teenage Emma Watson. And this other one looks like that girl who's in Mean Girls. But anyway, I always think this is so funny because it just cuts to the heart of the issue that guys always are just thinking of what would impress women. And so this meme is always like the most ridiculous things. So in this case, it's like, I don't know. I can see this happening in 5 years, but nobody's going to care about Emerald DAO or BitCat Hero, but he was early on Bitcoin Cash. That could be a thing, right?
Yeah, it could be.
So I like this one a lot. And he also gave a token address. So I feel like this might be one of the ones that I'm going to send a BitCat to, I think.
How did he generate what wallet do you use to generate a token address?
Cash and Eyes. And he's also used Selene for his BCH address. So loyal user right there. That's already getting into my heart. A few people like this one. Got a lot of views, I guess, because he's got a big Twitter account. So a lot of people were following that. All right, next one.
All right, got fix the tracking. Let me see.
That last one is a screenshot from the movie Aquamarine, apparently. I don't know, never seen that. So, all right.
Okay, so we got this from the Spider-Man 2 movie.
The Jason one.
It's like Peter Parker saying, I can't wait for the Cash Tokens ecosystem to take off. And then Harry, what's his name?
Yeah. Is it like James Franco?
Yeah.
Or whatever is his brother?
Yeah.
But Peter, that will make other blockchains obsolete and ultimately worthless. And then the last slide, I already support Cash Tokens. You don't have to sell it to me.
I love this one as well, too. This was also, I think, a front runner to win because I know Fix the Tracking is in the chat, so it's also representing for this episode. But the reason it made me laugh is because we talk so much on this show about BCH maximalism and how you can be non-toxic, like maximalism, and that just perfectly encapsulated like making the other blockchains obsolete, BCH global reserve currency, who needs anything else? That's right up my alley. I love the fact that he's saying Cash Tokens is just going to eliminate the need for all the other chains, which is exactly what Jason Dreisner was telling us about on his episode. So, I like this one a lot. Definitely made me laugh. I think I sent it a tip, but I will have to go through this thread and tip some afterwards.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one.
From CM Works, Ruggers be like, and then a dude just rubbing his hands.
But this is a common meme format, right? This guy like coming out from behind a tree and if you've ever seen the GIF, he does like a really funny like hand motion and then wiggles his head around as he's coming out behind this tree. So I mean, it says Bitcoin Cash Tokens upgrade launch, scammers, fake projects, ruggers be like, yeah, true, but we haven't seen any yet, so it kind of doesn't ring totally true to me in that sense. I like the Selene QR code. Look, let me just tip this one right now for using a Selene wallet. I'll definitely rep that.
Go.
But the actual meme, I don't know. I think it kind of missed because we haven't seen any Cash Token scams and stuff. It's like not technically feasible yet because there's no tooling and everything.
Right.
So I was a little sus on that, to be honest. But I don't know. Nice attempt, I guess.
Good attempt.
All right.
I don't know, man.
Ready for the next
I don't know. It didn't get me to authentically laugh, right?
Yeah, right. I feel you.
Technically, BCH Guru could still rock. Yeah, they could, but they haven't. So that's why it's still not totally there. All right, next one.
From thunder.bch, if you want P2P cash, Bitcoin Cash is the way. And then it's the picture of the Hulk and the monk person.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the Hulk's always got green, so that kind of is true. But I don't know. Again, I'm not big on Marvel movies. I don't know. What about you, Luke? Do you like Marvel movies?
Some of them are all right. They're not my favorite.
Yeah. It's a bit of a crapshoot because the viewers are sort of trying to play on what do we like or not like, and I just don't happen to like Marvel movies, so it's a bit hard in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. Not one of my favorite. Yeah.
All right. So after Hulk, we have from esdeath.sui, the real gem. Oh, this one was probably too late 6 hours ago.
Yeah, that had to be before today. Before midnight. So yeah, too late, too slow, too bad.
All right, moving on.
Brutal.
Drink some water.
Yeah.
Thanks. That one made me laugh.
No QR code though, right? Or is it if you click on it, can you get?
Nope, no QR code.
Okay, all right. Well, you can't win if you didn't put his QR code then.
Oh my god, the prison one.
Okay, invalid cast. Maxis. Every coin except Bitcoin is a scam. DeFi is on Bitcoin. I am right and all of you are wrong. And then the group of BCH holders, they just give them a thumbs up.
Yeah, I like this. I like this one, but I'm trending away. Like I might maybe tip this one 50 cents or something, but I'm trending away from memes that sort of reference the maxis and BTC. Like it's just irrelevant, man. I don't care. Like we've been through arguing with them. We've won. Like they're irrelevant, and the whole market is moving away from them. So
right.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna send this one 50 cents. This is a good one, but like let's be real. Like the fact that we even need to make this meme at all is still just keeping them in the conversation when they don't need to be. So can't over that. Yeah.
We got a BCH story time meme.
It's Interstellar. It's from Interstellar.
Okay.
The movie.
Okay.
It's like they found BCH on some planet somewhere, and then Anna Kendrick says, "Bit Jason, what are you doing?" And then it's Jason Dreisner's face awkwardly photoshopped on, I don't know, is this Matthew McConaughey? Cash tokens, he says. And then it's a multi-page meme. So then it goes into
community.
You got to open the next. Yeah,
It's necessary. And then BCH devs creating the update.
BCH devs creating the update. And then the third
this
third
is
panel is on the moon. Yeah, well you laughed. They got a big laugh.
Yeah. This one's probably gonna be in my top 3.
Okay.
This one cracks me up.
Yeah. I can see this one maybe being a winner. I had this as one of my favorites.
Oh my god!
Just Jason's poorly photoshopped face.
Yeah, there we go. Adding that in definitely has and it's topical as well too. Jason Dreisner, superhero, saving the whole of humanity with cash tokens, and the BCH ecosystem going into planetary. The moon is in there, right? That's a big crypto theme. Yeah, I like this one a lot, and I laughed because you laughed. When you laughed, it just made it more funny.
Just his face. It's necessary.
All right. Strong contender there. Strong contender.
13 hours ago. This is before today my time, but.
Okay. Whatever. I'll allow it.
All right. Let me see here. Oh, this is the baby's one with the different nipple. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This one cracks me up.
I don't think this one can win, man. This one's just too weird.
Go by that pretty quick too. All right.
Here we go.
Like, did this person draw those nipples themselves? I'm like wondering. Like, how much work went into that? Like, I can't tell if they photoshopped or they actually drew. Did they actually draw like 5 different breasts?
Maybe it was mid journey, mate. It's all mid journey. It's all AI generated. No, I don't think so. I don't know. It looks kind of hand drawn.
Yeah, it looks kind of hand drawn. I'm impressed.
Okay.
Well, it's like I saw a meme a little while ago. Somebody had posted this Renaissance art of this priest like having sex with a nun, right? And they had just commented that to say, like, consider that this was in an age where you had no reference materials, no nothing, and you had to hand paint this artwork for over like months. How horny would you have to be to make this artwork? And that was kind of what I felt like from that previous one. So yeah, I don't know.
It grew on me. When I first saw it, I was like, what am I even looking at? And I was like, oh, that's pretty funny.
Made me
all right, next one, Jett.
Yeah.
I'm at least tipping that one.
Okay.
All right, so I scrolled by 2 of the 13-hour ones submitted. We got one from 19 hours ago from Jack P 8954371, and it's just some boxers. Bitcoin Cash beating the shit out of Bitcoin with faster transactions. Oh, it's the Bitcoin Cash podcast representing Bitcoin Cash beating the shit out of BTC.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'll tip this one for referencing the podcast, but I don't know. Again, kind of if you're on the whole BTC versus BCH type of tip, like, I don't know. We got better stuff to talk about. There's more. That's why the cash tokens one was good. It was about BCH, right? So, yeah, I don't know. Send that one 50 cents. Selene doing some quality work here, by the way. All right.
All right, on to Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Oh, Sir Mix-a-Lot. This was one of my favorites. This got, as well, it also got one of the best community responses, partially because I retweeted it. But if you have a good meme, well, that's just the advantage. So it's Sir Mix-a-Lot saying, I like big blocks and I cannot lie, with the lady in the video clip. Well, what do you say? Well endowed? Is that the right phraseology? Anyway, she's covered by the BCH logo. Well gifted, naturally gifted lady from the Sir Mix-a-Lot classic from the 90s. And this one, yeah, I think this one's also a strong contender because clearly it resonated with the audience of this show.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, it makes sense. Sometimes you just like what you like. And if that's Bitcoin Cash.
If you guys like it, all right. A little simple for my taste, but...
You know, not edgy, not weird enough for you, man. You like the weird ones. This one's too mainstream, dude. Big blocks, big Sir Mix-a-Lot. That's playing to the people. You're not repping the people. All right.
People want to do up.
Well, yeah, I'm on board with big blocks. So,
all right.
I'm loving that one. I think that one's a strong contender. All right, what do we got next?
Next, it looks like a clip from TheOffice. A tweet from Elon that says, ideally Doge speeds up block time 10x, increases block size 10x, drops fee 100x, and then it wins hands down. Then a photo of the Bitcoin Cash logo, and it's corporate needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. And then they're
the same picture. It's the classic Pam meme.
I was thinking Jen for some reason. Pam is No,
it is Jenna Fisher. That's why. That's the name of the actress. Yeah, I'm tipping this one as well too because I like this one. I like that Elon. It kind of ties into. It's a bit out of date, but it makes sense. Elon has been saying like, "Yeah, guys, we need Doge," and his wish list for Doge is just BCH, right? So I like that, and I also love The Office. I'm a huge fan of The Office up until Michael Scott left. Basically, I don't think I've even seen the seasons. If you just stop at the episode where Michael leaves, it's like the best show ever, top 5 shows. But then if you keep watching after that, it seems like it gets shit.
Well, if you just stop when Michael leaves, you don't get the emotional heartstrings pull in the season finale when he comes back.
Yeah. I think I've seen that scene on YouTube. That's a great scene.
It actually brought me to tears, and I don't give a damn. Like, I watched Marley and Me without crying.
Right. I don't know what Marley and Me is. I guess I'm a harmless robot. Okay. All right. Good old fictional dogs pulling on the heartstrings.
Old Yeller, kind of like that.
Old Yeller. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, this one was a pretty good one. All right, next one.
From Dweller's Art, 21 hours ago. Oh, hold on. This is a video. Let me full screen it.
We got a video. I didn't even realize we had video submissions.
Okay, we're going to see like a cropped version of this, unless I can... This is just...
Oh, this one. Yeah.
Aspect ratios. Okay.
It's the Pink Panther.
Oh, the Pink Panther one.
There was a different version of this that I saw. Maybe it was in another thread or something. But it's this like 2 cartoon guys. Or one cartoon guy is painting it whole brown, and then the Pink panther. The green panther comes around and paints it with peer-to-peer electronic cash. And they're kind of going around in circles in very panther style. Yeah, there was another one that somebody did, which was it had the guy painting a door, and and he paints the door, and then he opened and closes the door. Okay, this is actually making me laugh now.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, I like that. It actually looks like a lot of effort went into that one. I think that one.
Yeah, a lot of effort went into that one. I like that one.
That one deserves a tip as well, too. So let's just get that QR code up. Yeah. All right. Well, I sent that one $2 to BCH because that one did make me laugh. All right, next one.
One from Daisy, spelled with an E.
Daisy. Oh yeah, this is yeah. I think she won in the stream competition. She put in a meme that won, I think, and she got a lot of likes as well too. A lot of positive community sentiment for Daisy's memes.
Oh, it took me a second to get this one.
Yeah, so it's a guy jumping out of a plane with a parachute. He's skydiving, and he pulls the cord on his parachute, but nothing comes out. And then he looks in his parachute sort of bundle and sees that there is no parachute. And then he's wiping his head, like, because he's realized he's going to die when he hits the ground. And then the final panel, which is actually half the size of the thing, Jett's getting ads for gaming t-shirt. Oh, maybe that's just me on Twitch. All right. The final panel, the final panel is the guy's wife, and she's hanging up his parachute on the washing line with a BCH B imposed on it. And the text says, "Don't let your wife know about your BCH wallet seed phrase." So the idea is that this guy's wife washed his parachute on the exact day that he went parachuting, and he's dead as a result. So I was in two minds about this, because on one hand, I don't know why the wife was suddenly getting called out. Like, it's a good message, like, not your keys, not your coins. Love that. But on the other hand, if it literally is your wife, you might want to be giving her a backup copy or something.
This is just Daisy snitching on herself. Fellow catchers, do not get with this lady. She will kill you and take your coins.
Well, wouldn't need to. If you gave her your seed, then that's it. It's game over. If you didn't, you didn't have to. So there was kind of, look, there's lols in the chat. People are loving this meme. It seems like a lot of BCHs are vibing with these vibes. Maybe you need to put the backup keys with your lawyer or something instead. I don't know.
You gotta let someone know, right?
Whoa. Do you? Or you just, I'm dead, it's a donation to the network. Frozen forever, Satoshi style. Go out.
I guess you could.
Your wife works for Ledger, and she is sending those keys back to their servers.
I guess individuals. I mean, one of the funniest things that I've ever seen in crypto actually was when I was explaining BCH to my mate and his wife, and I was showing them, here's a wallet and here's blah blah. Send it to you. Here's the seed phrase, right? And I said to them, like, I tell everybody that I'm onboarding. Okay, so you can't show me this. Like I say, like, click on the settings, click on that screen. Okay, but I can't look, because if I saw that, I could steal all your money, right? So you've got to not share this with anybody, because if you do, they can take all of your money. And so I was showing so I was showing my mate's wife. I explained that to her, and then she said, yeah, I got it. And then her husband, my mate, says, like, yeah, but we can show each other, right? And then she just looked at him like, what are you talking about? And then they just had this moment between the two of them of like, okay, we are not on the same page about this. It was over like $1 of BCH, and I just thought it was just so funny to see, like, obviously finances in relationships, everybody has to handle that in their own way. So I'm sure they had a discussion about that later. Certainly if they were putting more money in crypto, then they would have needed to be figuring out what was the game plan there. You know,
that's a pretty funny one.
All right, next one. I think we've been through nearly all of them, right?
Yeah, just the one that, except for the ones that were too short, it seemed. So another 19 hours ago one. Oh, this is the yes pop, but guy shitting on the bathroom floor.
That one is so weird.
What is even happening here?
So it's the Grim Reaper meme where there's the Grim Reaper and he's passing by door A, B,
he's
C
keeping the door
with
closed.
blood out of it. And yeah, and so he's got what, BSV, Pepe Coin, and ETH. The Grim Reaper of BCH has killed them all. And then he's coming to the last open door of like next one to go. But this time it's a porta potty. And then you've got BTC inside the porta potty trying to keep the door jammed shut mid like defecation. Luke likes it. This guy's playing a Luke because I'm not feeling it. I'm like, this is pretty weird.
I'm not gonna put that in my top 3, but it's just, yeah, it's absurd.
What? Yeah.
I'm gonna have a lot.
It doesn't fully make sense.
Next meme. We have just an old guy giving you a hug. I don't know what this is.
No QR code, can't win, but nice.
Is that
pretty funny?
Is that Joe Biden?
Veteran
coming to sniff my hair?
Welcome to Bitcoin Cash is the caption. Yeah, definitely. But I'd be a bit worried if this was my introduction to Bitcoin Cash. I don't know. Yeah, I don't want to get a hug. The first thing that I'm learning about cryptocurrency that can come later, I think. Oh, there's a good one as well down here.
From Fortress.cash?
Yeah, but there's no QR code, but I want to give them a shout out.
Oh, yeah. The Stephen Crowder changed my mind.
Stephen Crowder changed my mind meme, and it says Bitcoin Cash was created in 2009. Changed my mind. I love that one because it's like, that's the exact argument that we've had on this show with various people. Like, it started in 2017. No, it didn't, bro. How do we have transactions from 2009 if it started in 2017? That would be, what are we, all time travelers? That's not possible. It started in 2009. There's no way around it. And what they say is, oh, but it didn't trade on an exchange. There was no Bitcoin Cash on exchanges till 2017. But it's like, well, there was no Bitcoin on exchanges in 2009. So did that only start in 2010? What's going on? You know?
I saw someone get salty over the Robinhood Bitcoin family thing. And they were like, they're not the same family at all. It just has old blocks that share the same history. And it's like, what kind of gymnastics are going on in your head?
Yeah. Well, that's it. That's what I was saying, though. Like, the BTC community is getting increasingly reactionary and riled up about BCH. Obviously, they always have been. But now the calls are increasing because they're feeling the pressure. BCH is starting to succeed and sort of emerge out of the shadows a bit. So the pressure's on for them. That's why we don't need to be making reactionary memes about them. They're already coming to us. So I'd just chill on that front. Yeah.
We've got one left. This looks like a grayscale image. Let me see. From Leo Lola, maybe? I don't know. Anyway.
No QR code. Looks like, oh, maybe in the corner there.
Oh, this is a fresh baby getting all the attention, it being Bitcoin Cash, and the older baby being like, fuck this kid.
Yeah.
Clearly salty.
Again, kind of reactionary. Kind of reactionary to BTC, so I'm less impressed by that. Plus, we already had on the meme stream, the winning meme was that one of the babies in the pool with the mum loving one baby and then the other baby drowning, and then the skeleton under the water. That one already won on the meme stream, so I don't think this kind of idea, it's already been done, you know.
All right, want to do quick scrolling through the ones that were disqualified from being too late? I think there's like 3 here.
Whatever, we're kind of running out of time. Like, you got disqualified. Too bad. So I think
is 13 hours too long?
13 hours.
Is 13 hours disqualified?
Yeah. No, that's true. But I mean, you can still tip them if you want, but it was needs to be more than what, 15 or 16.
You see this one with the two erections?
That one was pretty weird.
That one on the stream.
Oh my God.
Hold on. I don't even know if it comes up in my feed here. Oh yeah,
Anyway.
never mind. There it is.
We got to pick some winners. So we got to give some winners. I think I heard he owns a first wave Emerald DAO BitCat here on BCH Guru. That's worth a BitCat as well. Like that one was, got the token address on it and everything. So I think I'm going to send I'll do it later. I don't have Selene doesn't support tokens yet, but I'll send that one BitCat later. What have been the best ones? The Bitcoin Jason cash tokens, BitJason. That one seems to have got the biggest laugh.
I think that's probably my number one, is the one with Jason.
That's your number one? Okay, they put a token address as well, but I'm happy to make that the winner. I agree. That was a pretty good one. It definitely made me laugh as well. So let me see.
Yeah, that one made me laugh.
Again, this bad boy. All right, I'm going to just send that one BCH right now. All right, hopefully that's sent. If
Is that
not,
other
we'll check in
QR
with it later.
code with the star icon in it? Is that?
That's got to be the cash tokens address, I think.
Gotcha.
All right, my wallet's frozen up. Clearly, we got to work on a bug there. But okay, that one wins. That'll be one BCH, half a BCH, or maybe this parachuting one. That seems to have got a lot of people love that.
Let's see. If the people love it,
You got to give the people what they want, right?
we got to give the people what they want.
Okay, all right. So that's Daisy, who I think won the previous, or was at least in the prizes of the previous competition, wins a second. Emergent Reason says parachute didn't make sense. It does make sense. You just don't get it. What?
I don't think it makes sense. That's why it's not in my top three. It doesn't really make sense to me either. Not gonna lie.
It does make. What do you mean? How does it not make sense? The guy's going parachuting. His wife hasn't communicated with him, and in her good-natured intentions, has washed his parachute for him. But because they didn't communicate, has now screwed him. And it's the same thing. Like if you told someone your seed phrase, and then your wife lost your seed phrase, and you got rugged, you'd be in the same situation as this guy with the parachute.
Okay, hold on. Maybe this shouldn't be the winner though, because
why would she be washing it? Because you got to wash your parachute. I don't know.
I interpreted this a different way.
The link to the parachute and a seed phrase seems. I don't know. It doesn't really link to me very much. Like I get the parachute I get the whole parachute thing, but how that relates to letting your wife know about a seed phrase doesn't really make sense to me that much. But
okay, all right.
So the way I
how about we do this third? We give that one third.
Okay, all right.
The way I interpreted this one was that the wife knows you have coins and wants to kill you for your coins, and so she purposefully was like, "I'll take this parachute."
Right.
See, we're all mixed up. We don't even know what it's about.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like there's too much confusion about this one. Maybe this one didn't win. I was skeptical, but the community liked it. That's all I'm saying. Like,
maybe that's part of the genius of the art, right? That everyone has their own interpretation.
Emergent Reason says it's saying your wife is incompetent. Yeah, it is, but that's true. But also, it seems that it was posted by a woman, so it was like a self jab. Like, I don't,
That's true. That's true.
I don't know. We're in a mess about this one, so I don't know. I'll send it to BCH because clearly at least it's generated some discussion, but maybe not the winning.
Let's keep that one in our minds. That could be 2 or 3 though. I'm not gonna be mad if that's 2 or 3.
Okay. All right. I'm sending that one $5 to BCH. All right. I think this one of the I can't wait for the cash tokens ecosystem to take off. I already support cash tokens. You don't have to sell it to me. I like that one a lot. And I also like big blocks. You like that? You like that one more than big blocks, do you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So second for this Peter Parker one, and then third for big blocks.
I like the Pink Panther one personally.
The Pink Panther. Okay. Pink Panther was creative. That I could see that one in third or in second.
Yeah. We could do. Let's see. I'd probably put Pink Panther like third though.
Okay. All right. Pink Panther third. And then what? Spider-Man second.
Yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's decided. And I will also separately tip the big blocks meme because I like that one. So I think that was a good option. All right. Cool. Well, there we go. That's the winners then. First place to Bit Jason in Interstellar. Second place to Peter Parker. Cash tokens is the best. So cash tokens, strong trend for people who picked cash tokens meme, and then third for the Pink Panther. And I'll also send a BitCat to Beachad's Emma Watson meme.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the cash token one is good. It's on theme with cash tokens. Is creative, and it made me laugh with the photoshopped head of Jason.
Yeah. No, certainly. Sometimes the worst memes are the best. Sometimes low detail execution actually makes it funnier. Yeah. So gotta give rep for that. Callisti shouting out that he's also tipping people with Selene in the chat. So yeah, absolutely crushing it. Okay, I got a community comment of the week. We'll just get through this pretty quickly, but we had discussion in the community where Tom's down the same one as before I was talking about, said, if you bond with others over how bad things are, you create incentive to maintain badness. If you bond over how cool things could be, you create incentives to improve and learn what else is possible. Nerd emoji, thumbs up emoji. And then Bitcoin Cash Audis responded and said, we're about to experience what success looks like. Those who bonded over BCH not getting anywhere are going to have a hard time accepting success. End quote. So I just wanted to bring this up because I think it's important for everybody to realize it's starting to work. It's really starting to kick off on BCH. And ironically, there's going to be a few people who come out of the woodwork to have a complaint about that. And we were seeing a little bit of that because there are some people who are just self-sabotaging, right? They like, it's like their little basement clubhouse that they're in where they don't like it when things start to succeed, because then it ruins their little commiseration pity party they had going. And so, yeah, I just think everybody should just be very prepared to just see that and just ignore it. Just let those people fade away. Don't argue with them. It's working, guys. Be happy. And for the people who are too psychologically attached to having a little bitch about it's not working exactly the way I imagined it, or I kind of like that it was my little pity party, you're irrelevant. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. I can see that happening too if the fees go up eventually. Let's say Bitcoin Cash is widely used and fees go up to 10 cents or something. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people won't be happy. I think I commented when you said that too, that people won't be happy about that either. But that's good.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we want demand. If demand is doing that well, then we just got to work on scaling, and then that would be a winning situation to be in. I mean, I would also be a bit worried if we were at 10-cent fees, because we'd certainly need to find a way to improve that or build side chains or do something so that it could be more consumer accessible to the rest of the world. But definitely would be recognizing that was winning. That was a good problem to have, that we had so much demand. That was kind of the thing. All right, cool. We got meme of the week. It was that Bitcoin family thing we said before from American HODL being super salty and upset. Robinhood just put, I don't even know how this came about. Bitcoin family, that's not even a thing. But it is now apparently. And he just posted, dear Robinhood app, what in the actual fucking fuck is this? So clearly disturbed by that, and it's just going to happen. now looks like this meme should have won. But yeah, I mean, it's just the case that BCH is just crushing it with Lindy. We're still around, we're still going, and like I said, getting better and better all the time. So more and more, it's like the fly on the elephant's back, that just won't go away. And the BTC people, they're gonna at some point, it's gonna go from this is just annoying to I'm really pissed off. And then we're all going to watch their futile rage as they realize that they're just in the same position as no coiners. No coiners are mad that Bitcoin can't be switched off. And BTC people are mad that Bitcoin can't be switched off in the exact same way. It's quite ironic,
Yeah, it's crazy. I used to look up to some of these Bitcoin maxis, Max Kaiser. Like, man, I'm like, damn, I just think Metcalf was a cool guy, but now, like, you want to use the power of the state to make every other altcoin like illegal? What are you talking about? You're like a crazy fascist, dude.
Exactly. Just shilling their own bags. They're just captured too deep in the sauce, really, when it comes to that. Lost all objective principles. And
yeah, I'm sure Satoshi wanted us to use the power of the state to make every altcoin illegal. Like, what are you talking about? You're fucking crazy.
But I guess anyway, these furus will just expose themselves, and the market will move on and move past them. Right, we got a message to the community. Luke, where are we at? What does the Bitcoin Cash community need to hear?
Keep building. I think we're on the right trajectory. I know sometimes people can get, price isn't great, but price comes later after things get built. I think, we have a lot of the tools now, with cash tokens, and hopefully we see SmartBCH come back. And now I think we can sort of pivot a little bit to what BCH needs as builders, entrepreneurs looking to solve problems and using BCH as that tool to solve problems and to build businesses and to make money.
Yeah.
So we're calling all builders. The bat symbol.
Exactly. Where was that in the memes? Like, I guess there was that one about the BCH community building, but they just needed to cut BTC out of it somehow and just have something more positive and uplifting rather than like reactionary, I think.
Right.
If we can get on
the bat signal up.
Yeah. Well, that's what the ETH community does, right? They have this whole joke about the bat signal because it's ultrasound money and they're ultrasound like a bat, but like whatever. That's a bit of a cope, I think, because they're like, it's ultrasound money and I've never bought a sandwich with it. All right, go. Get out of here. Get out of here, guy. You and your ultrasound money. You're just shilling your bags. Like, come on.
Yeah. But
where's the Ethereum Saint kits? There's no Ethereum Saint kits. There just isn't. There's no Ethereum Cash City. Never heard of that.
Yeah. But I think especially now with cash tokens, Bitcoin Cash it's open for business.
It's been unlocked. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We go to supporter appreciation as always. Thank you very much to all our donators. Thank you to the Twitch chat, by the way. It's been going off this episode. Good to see a lot of regulars in there chatting away, asking questions. We try to address that during the episode. Thanks for being part of it live. It's always fun. Thanks to the patrons, Ricky and HP, legendary. Thank you to General Protocols, our sponsor. Check out bchbull.com, especially if you want to hedge in gold, like we were talking about. Hedging in gold makes a lot of sense. Backed by BCH, though, not backed by gold. So just get that right. And our Flipstarter contributors as well: Majamalu, Marcelo, Renegade, Cheapy, Merchant Reasons, Unspent.app, Molecular, Bitcoin Cash, Orders, Mini Satoshi, and Callisti.cash. Thank you very much for contributing and helping this show keep running. Check out Selene.cash. We got the latest updates out, so give that a bit of a go. And also bitcoincashpodcast.com for start guide, FAQs, links, all the info. Shoutouts. Luke, who are you shouting out, and where can people find more of you?
Shout out to Jason for being a rock star dev and getting cash tokens over the line. And I think he does good interviews. I enjoy hearing his thoughts. And I think, he's done so much work has gone into getting cash tokens over the line, and just recognizing where Bitcoin Cash needs to go. And my daughter's yelling.
You're gonna have to go in a second, man. If you need to jump up the string, go Charlotte.
You can find me on Twitter, the Luke Pryor. I also run a YouTube channel, lifelabs.ai. So we're building a hair mineral analysis. That's my main source income, hair mineral analysis. So where I basically tell people what vitamins and minerals they need. I can tell you if you need zinc, copper, magnesium, that sort of stuff.
Love that.
That's my main passion besides Bitcoin Cash and crypto.
All right. Some other time we're going to have to do a deep dive on that. Optimizing your minerals. Feed Luke Pryor.
Yeah, we could for sure.
All right. Good stuff. Jett, shout out.
I don't have a shout out for this episode, but Luke, I might hit you up privately just so that you can send a message to my girlfriend and be like, get more iron in your diet.
Yeah.
From the expert,
Yeah,
verified.
Yeah, iron's interesting. That's another topic, but usually iron is usually due to a copper imbalance.
There you go.
Yeah, usually, most people in our society don't have true anemia. Most people, what they think is anemia is just a copper imbalance because you need copper. Copper basically regulates and helps the body convert certain types of iron into other forms to produce hemoglobin.
Wow. Okay.
I'll send you literature on it.
Yeah. Much appreciated.
Yeah.
I will definitely be forward to think about a lot.
Yeah, nothing about. And my shout out goes to Wendy, who I've been trying to convert to BCH and will be starting to listen to the podcast, but haven't quite got there. I was explaining to her all about Bitcoin mining and everything today, how it's not going to destroy the world. Actually, it's a huge incentive for renewable energies and everything like that. So if you made it all the way through this episode, then good job, Wendy. And we'll discuss more. Hopefully you'll accept a bit of BCH soon. I've been trying to send her can I send you $1? You got to see how it works. Oh, I'm still not sure. Maybe we'll be able to get over that barrier with a bit more exposure. All right. Thank you everybody for listening. Until next time.
All right. Thank you everyone. We'll do this again next year.
Yes. And you're going to run it on time this time.
Yes.
We're going to run it with
So I started realizing that if you can just find strength just a little bit longer, you will have a crew of people following you along the way.
And that is another thing that no one can ever teach you. Because you're going to have to learn that on your own. You're going to have to figure out how to pull that energy out of your mind on your own. There's no book you can read that all of a sudden I have it. I've got the technique now. I know how to do it.
Yeah.
No, it's a grind that you have to start and finish on your own.